Hey gang, what's going on? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys checking today's video out. Got a good one for you. We're going to be talking about a study in regards to hook size, as far as how the size of your hook affects if you're going to get a bite or not from a fish. I think you guys are going to find this really interesting. It's probably going to change your entire way that you think about hook size after you hear and watch this whole video through the end there. Before we get started, guys, just our daily housekeeping tip. Wanted to remind you all about our new Solar Bat sunglasses here. This is my signature series, RB3 series. You guys that have followed the channel have known that we've had the RB2 series out for a long time. The new RB3 series, guys, has this crystallized matte gray frame on it, which completely reduces all the light reflection from the water. It's super cool on your head. These things fit great. They don't blow off your head when you're running down the lake. Optical clarity on the lens is second to none. These things are just freaking awesome, guys. And I'll put the Solar Bat link in the description. And if you get a pair right now on the new RB3s, you get them at 30% off. And any purchase is over $56, you get a $30 pair of sunglasses absolutely free. So I'll put the link in the description. Much appreciated with that. Okay, guys, here's the study I'm talking about. It's actually a study that I have done myself over the past probably hardcore about 20 years. Now, I'm going to tell you, the results of this are going to really surprise you with that, because the thing that I have found right off the bat, then I'm going to sort of go into why and how and all this type of stuff and what you can do to avoid it, is hooks. Any hook, I don't care what it is, on your lure. If you have a treble hook hanging off your lure, if you have a worm hook, if you have a jig hook, whatever, any hook in a lure is a strike detractor. It's going to take away the amount of strikes that you get simply because it's not real. The hook does not look like anything that a fish wants to eat. And in my opinion, to a large degree, a hook is what determines whether or not a fish is going to bite your lure or not. But obviously you've got to have hooks in your bait to catch a fish, you know, or you're never going to get one. But let me tell you how I came about this, how I sort of figured this out, you know, through the study that I conducted. I have spent a large part of my career, you know, flipping and pitching. That's how I've, you know, all the Bassmaster tournaments I've won, pretty much about every tournament that I've won except for maybe 2 or 3 have come flipping and pitching a jig or a creature bait, something like that. And in doing so, I became sort of like really obsessed with hook size, you know, different type of hooks and the bigger hooks. I went through all different ones of those. And I went through a period of about 20 years ago where I should have won 5 or 6 national tournaments, but I kept losing these fish, jumping off, you know, flipping and pitching creature baits or jigs. I'd have them on and they'd come up and pull off by the boat, or they jump off or whatever. And I had, you know, super sharp, you know, about the biggest hook that I could put in the bait and get away with it. And I still could not get these fish in the boat. So about the height of my frustration, I was fishing a tournament down at Grand Lake it's been about 17, 18 years ago. And the second day of the tournament, I had probably 13 or 14 fish hooked, and I got 2 of them in the boat flipping willows down there. And I just losing them like constantly. I couldn't believe it. So anyway, the very next tournament I went to, it was another flipping tournament. So I'm practicing flipping, and most of the time when I'm practicing and flipping, I've got like a rusty hook box. I don't care if I catch them or not. I usually shake them off, and I usually would either cut the hook off or put like a junk hook in there. And the only junk hook I had in my box was this little bitty, like a #1 straight shank hook. And I was flipping a pretty good sized creature bait. So I put that thing on there. I didn't care if I lost them or not. And I started flipping these willows with a full size brush hog, which is a pretty big bait, on this little bitty 1/0 hook. And I was getting bites, and I try to shake them off. Like, you know, it's like, there's one like that. And, you know, they're swimming off with it. And I tried to shake them off. And guys, every single time I tried to shake them off, the fish would be hooked perfectly through the upper roof like that without even me setting the hook on it. And I got thinking about it, and it's like, that is the deal. I'm using too big of hooks. That's why I'm losing these fish. It's like the hook, I guess the hook diameter and the barb is maybe tearing the fish's mouth when I set the hook. So that tournament, guys, I went, instead of flipping with my normal straight shank 4/0 hook, I went to a 2/0 Gamakatsu round bend, twice as small. It looked way too small for the bait, and started flipping with that, which was hard to do because I looked at that thing and I said, man, that does not look like I'm gonna hook any fish. Guys, I never lost any fish in the tournament. It was like unbelievable. I backed off on my hook set. I didn't set the hook as hard, pulled into them with that little hook and started catching fish. So that's number one. That's it as far as catching more. Not only did I catch more, but I got more bites and more strikes as a result. And it's the same way with a crankbait or anything like that. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make with crankbaits is they put way too big hooks on them. Most of the time, I think that most people put a size or two too large hooks on a crankbait. And let's say, for example, you're fishing a square bill crankbait and you decided to put maybe a number 2 hook on the back or a 2/0 hook on the back and maybe a 4/0 on the front. Guys, the number of bites that you get with that big honking 2/0 hook on the back of a square bill is going to cut your bites in half. So one of the things I've started doing is, even on my larger crankbaits, I start going down a size, because say if a lure comes with a number 4 hook in it on a crankbait, I'll take those off and I'll put a number 5, which is a smaller hook. Not only does that reduce that visual strike deterrent, but the smaller diameter and barb of those smaller hooks penetrate easier. They penetrate a lot easier than a larger diameter or barbed hook out there. So I've seen this over and over again with different size of hooks. I don't care if it's a swim jig or whatever. I remember swim jigging fishing. I mean, if you use a 2/0 hook on a swim jig versus a 4 or 5/0 hook, you're going to get a lot more bites on that 2/0 hook. So one of the things I want to suggest to you guys from this informal study that I've done is go reduce your hook size on whatever you're doing. I don't care if you're worm fishing or crankbait fishing or jerkbait fishing, whatever. Take the hook that you normally use and go down a size on it. It's going to increase the number of bites that you get, and you're going to land more fish with it. And it's not easy to do, because it's sort of counterintuitive. It's like intellectually you say, okay, if I have a bigger hook with a bigger gap in it, that's going to give me more power, and if I can get that point in the fish, I'm not going to lose them. It's not that way, guys. It's the direct opposite of that. Go small, downsize on your hooks, back off on your hook set, and again, you'll get more bites, you'll land more fish, and once you start doing it, it'll just sort of become second nature. So I don't know why there's not more videos out on that, because it's if there's one thing that I have seen like a huge change in my fishing over the past 20 years, it is with that. Now, there are some situations that it doesn't matter what you do, you're still gonna lose fish, but that is a controlled variable that you can do. And some baits you can't do it, because if you're fishing like a chatterbait or a flipping jig or something like that has a fixed hook in it, or a buzz bait, there's not much you can do about that. But the hooks that you can do something about, which are your worm hooks, your creature bait hooks, drop shot hooks, crankbait, jerkbait, hard baits, you can make a change on that. So give it a try. I hope it helps out, guys. We'll see you.